Hello, my name is Ian Beer. I'm with the Education Department at the Historic Arkansas Museum, and I'm here today in the William Woodruff Print Shop, home of the Arkansas Gazette from 1824 to 1827, at least in the original building, but we won't get into that today. And I want to talk to you a little bit about some early sort of Christmas songs and stories and such that appear in the newspaper that maybe if you want to, you can add a little history to your Christmas traditions at home. One of the things I found, really the earliest Christmas song that was printed in the Arkansas Gazette was on December 29th, 1821. And we find out, we see a lot that since newspapers reprinted stuff from other newspapers, their Christmas stuff would be for a couple weeks after actual Christmas as they picked up stuff from other newspapers around the country. And it's called Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, or Christmas Gambles, by Samuel Woodworth. Now it was a poem in 1821, but by 1826 he had printed a book of his poems, and it had been given a tune to go with it, called Song of Shepherds in Rustical Roundelays. I know these are all really well-known household names for music, but bear with me. In 1834, it was reprinted in the Arkansas Gazette, this time mentioning what tune to go with it. So this is, as I said, this is one of the earliest songs. And after we're done with this, I'm going to post in the comments a copy of the music if you want to try to give it a go. I am not going to give it a go because it's actually a little tough. But I can give you some sheet music and then a link to listen to the tune. But it's pretty straightforward. Hail to the season of joy and festivity, social pleasures and innocent mirth, consecrated by Mary's nativity, bliss angelical granted to earth. Tempests of winter the forest may splinter, but never can stint or embitter our cheer, while love's soft wishes still sweeten the dishes on Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Pretty basic sentiment. One of the fun things about this, though, is that in the fourth verse, now commences the infantile revelry. Happy urchins, the story believe, that Santa Claus, since the ages of chivalry, visits the nursery on holiday eve. Socks intended for gifts are suspended, in mystic rites blended, the fancy to cheer, while sweet snapdragon exhausts the full flagon, each Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This is a 1821 song about Santa Claus and stockings and getting a visit, and so I thought that was pretty cool. That this was a tradition that was popping up in Arkansas in really 1821 is the year really that Little Rock was founded. So we're talking the 200-year-old song about getting ready for Santa Claus that was printed in an Arkansas newspaper. This one a little better known, that was printed in the Gazette in 1827. I'll give you the specific. On Christmas Day of 1827 is Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas, or as you might know it at home, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Now this had originally been printed in a Troy, New York newspaper, I believe in 1823, and it was making the rounds around the newspapers of the country, and it had already become, by 1827, popular enough that this was the feature of the Christmas Day issue of the Arkansas Gazette. Now, many of y'all probably already read that at home, but you might not know that there's a couple of other mid-19th century Christmas songs that are still popular today that were inspired by a visit from St. Nicholas. The first being Jolly Old St. Nicholas, which came out in 1863 and is the first song to focus specifically on Santa Claus, on the legend of Santa Claus. And right after that, a very similar song in 1864 came out called Up on the Housetop. I remember singing these as a kid, and I know many people, when we've done caroling here at the museum for, say, Second Friday Art Night, a lot of people are very familiar with these songs as well. This kind of help you connect. Those are good mid-19th century songs that connect to A Visit from St. Nicholas or A Night Before Christmas and have a kind of traditional grounding in historic Arkansas. One last one, which is also well known, and was probably one of the most likely ones to be sung here on our block, is Old Lanza, which is popular for New Year's. It's actually a Scottish tune, a traditional Scottish tune, although Robert Burns has given authorship in 1788. It seems that the song existed before then and continued to exist for a while. And this went with the Scottish, not necessarily Christmas, but the Scottish celebration of the last day of the year. And so both Robert Brownlee, his brother, and then James McVicker, who all at different times either lived or stayed in the historic buildings that are preserved at the Historic Arkansas Museum, were all immigrants from Scotland, and almost certainly would have been familiar with this poem and this tune. So if you want to channel your inner Brownlee or McVicker on New Year's Eve, you can look up, I might post this as well, the original Scottish lyrics of Old Lang Syne, and give that one a try. I always recommend your worst Scottish accent. Think Mike Myers from some of his movies in the 90s, because there's let me see if I can find some of the weirdest ones. We twa hae run about the braes, and put the gowans fine, but we wandered mony a weary foot, sin Old Lang Syne. So it sounds like words, but it has, most people are familiar with the Scottish, with the English translation, but the Scottish does have a nice lyricalness to it and a good rhyme to it. So to review, if you want to add a little history to your Christmas, we'll post Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, or as it was in the print anthology, Christmas Gambles, with some information about that. You can look up Jolly Old St. Nicholas up on the housetop, and 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. I'll go ahead and post the Scottish lyrics of Old Lang Syne if you want to give that a bellow on New Year's Eve. So hope you have a happy and musical holiday, and come and see us at Historic Arkansas Museum whenever you get a chance.